Keep 100% of your claim. G4 Claims.
If you've been hurt in a road accident that wasn't your fault, you should really talk to G4 Claims first. Unlike road accident solicitors, we don't charge you for our services, which could see you better off. To keep 100% of your compensation, have a chat with Nicole and the team. You'll be glad you did. Search online for G4 Claims.
Keep 100% of your claim. G4 Claims.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Sellik the Thunder podcast. And somehow, against all odds, we have made it to episode 150. Did you ever think we'd make it to 150 when we started this insane adventure?
I think when we started it, I was maybe hoping that by episode 150 we wouldn't be moaning about very similar issues at bigger level of the club. But I mean, before we go into all that, it's lovely to be here at episode 150.
I'm glad. How you feeling, Cam? 150? We're a fair age.
I know, as Kieran said, you and I quite think we'd be speaking about the same things as we were at the start, but we'll come into that.
It's all full circle at Celtic Football Club, baby. Thank you to everybody who's stuck with us for 150 episodes. Somehow we've made it to 150 without having any special guests or anything like that. You just watch us for us, and we adore that. So on that note, my two esteemed guests this evening is Kieran Auld and Calum. Kieran, how you doing?
I was doing brand new until you said that I wasn't a special guest. So, I got to digest that first, but I know I'm doing alright.
There's me off the Christmas card list. I'm not even on the Christmas card list.
Christmas card, what a decade, isn't it?
You're one of two people at this table who started a new job.
Mm-hmm.
How's it going?
Aye, good. But I mean, to reference people in the comments and that saying, like, starting every week with saying, aye, working away and that, I'm working away, but in a different place this time.
Different place.
I know I'm enjoying it, aye.
And somebody else who is working away at a different place is Calum himself. How are you?
Okay, mate, it's been good. So it's just that awkwardness. Everybody already knows each other, and you're the new one in, trying to remember names and faces. We've got three people with the same name in the office, so that's been a joy.
Is it Calum?
No, not mine. Three of the lasses I'll call Erin, and two of them sit opposite each other, so a bit of an awkward one. Nah.
You say their name, three heads go.
Meerkats in the office. Aye. But it's good. I mean, poor Adidas, they're a man down.
I mean, I said about Adidas and Celtic's probably the better, but sadly we need to talk about them.
No discounts for your £85 joggies.
No, absolutely not, and not amongst the rest of it.
Mate, I'm proud of the both of you. Really am. Congratulations.
Oh, cheers, Ryan.
Just, I've not had to step into a workplace environment in a couple of years now, and I think if I tried again, I'd probably crumble on the spot. So I'm properly full of admiration for you. On that note, we are going to get cooking with the show. We've passed all the pleasantries. But if you aren't already, please make sure to head over to the Thunder Club. If you want to become a member and pledge some extra allegiance to us, you can do so. You can become a member. And on today's Thunder Club, we will be discussing, of all things, Celtic Park. You might remember that in the minutes of the meeting that was held amongst Celtic and fan organisations on Friday, there was a tiny sliver of the statement that said that there is no plans for a South Stand redevelopment. So if there's no plans for that, what are the plans for Celtic Park, and what would you like to see happen with Celtic Park? That's going to be the topic of conversation on today's Thunder Club. On that note, we should get started with the main episode today. I mean, it was me, Calum and Dylan last week, Kieran, who took to the floor in the midst of what we could just be honest in calling a fan meltdown. The last couple of weeks has been quite that, and it's not went away yet. It's kind of simmered a little bit, but it's still very much there. You've not had the chance to air your grievances, so I mean, I don't know how backdated you want to be in your assessment of things here. You might not want to bark up the same trees that we already have, but I mean, I'll give you just a moment to air your thoughts about Celtic at the minute.
I mean, I'll try and keep my grievances relatively current. I mean, and I've had my moments of shadow boxing in my own room, with the anger. You know how it is.
Have you got Nicholson in the dartboard yet?
Well, even if I did, with the amount of holes in my wall, I think that would show you'd be a safe man. But I mean, when was it last week you came on?
It was, yes.
It was still very fresh at that point, I feel, especially after a very lacklustre derby. The end of the transfer window, we've had time to stew over it. I don't know if the time we've had has aided or abetted people's anger, because you've just been allowed to sit on it. I think you've been able to forget about it for certain points when you've got internationals and such. But I mean, for me, I've not really been paying too much attention to the internationals. There's just been so much going on online talking about the club. You had the meeting last night that we'll go and speak about.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's just the sheer anger at the incompetence and the sort of disdain the Celtic board hold for the fans. It's clear to see. We've said it for years. Even at the best of times, it's clear that they don't care about us.
Mm-hmm.
You're just a number to them. We'll come into it in much more depth, but the anger at the transfer window, the mismanagement of deals that could have been over the line well before the last minute scramble we had, the paying over the odds for players that we didn't value that highly. You've seen the stories coming out this week about is it Tanetke? Is that how you say his name?
Tanetke.
You've seen the stuff about the valuations that English clubs got for him. We've paid double that. We wouldn't pay £5 million for the winger that we wanted, but we then went out and overspent on a winger for the last minute panic buy that Celtic are infamous for.
Mm-hmm.
And then with Killie and Acho as well, I think that was the icing on the cake when it came to a very calamitous transfer window for Celtic. And it was one that sent a lot of people over the edge, because you were getting linked with the likes of Kasper Dolberg, things like that. Names that people online, you've very clearly seen, people would have been very happy if we were able to get somebody at his calibre in.
Mm-hmm.
But we let Adam Ida go. We brought in Kelechi and Acho. I don't want to write him off, but he's not coming in the best of circumstances. A man that's not really played that many games in the past few years. Mm-hmm. We're now at the stage where we're hoping for the miracle of him being a masterstroke just to save face. And I think that's where we're at now.
And it wouldn't be a masterstroke on the board's part.
No.
It would be a masterstroke on him and the manager's combined efforts of finding a player there. It would be that, quite simply. But, I mean, yeah, obviously you weren't here last week, Calum, you were. We done a podcast. It was very well received, actually. Thank you for the support in the comment section. You were all very happy with me, Dylan and Calum's performance, it seemed. And since then, Calum, not an awful lot has changed in the grand scheme of things with the club, because the only thing that's happened was a statement put out on Saturday night, a statement that was, let's just call it for what it was, drivel. It was a pile of absolute drivel, and you'd probably be better off saying nothing than what you actually did say. How did you receive that statement on Saturday? After that podcast that we done, and after we were very honest and open about our problems, did that statement live up to any of your expectations, and what did you take away from it?
It was, I was just kind of sat with family, and it was one that was pointed out in an order. Celtic released a statement. I was like, oh, let's see what this is in. And within about the first paragraph, I'd say, I was like, this is just utter nonsense. I guarantee you could have used any form of AI chat and asked you to create a statement, and you probably would have got like for like within it. There was nothing within there that felt as if you're like, right, do you know what, maybe they're actually tuning in a wee bit, they're taking a couple of bits on board. The word you used perfect is drivel. Mm-hmm. That's what it wasn't at the end of it. Genuinely, where do we go from here? There
was no answers to any of the questions that, number one, that the North Cov asked very, very blatantly. They said, we want answers to these. And the answers that I think all of us, we sat in the podcast, we gave our own questions, and there was just no response to anything, Calum. There was no, we couldn't do this, we couldn't do that. All it was blame UEFA, blame the media, blame everybody but ourselves, and take the regular dig at Rangers, the mandatory dig at Rangers, it feels like at this point. That's all it was. We had no answers in it whatsoever.
No, literally as you said, it was just for us to go out and basically point the finger at everybody else but ourselves, and actually take a bit of blame on themselves. And then, as you said, it's that typical all over we dig at Rangers, because it will go to certain parts of the support that'll keep them happy, they'll get a wee chuckle from it. But what about the mass others that we don't care for the absolute drivel? And it's so well and good you get a wee dig at them, but for currently the state we're in just now and the way we've been ran, you'd be like, why do you think that's acceptable?
Tone deaf, Kieran, tone deaf. And I think that just to loop in, and we're going to talk about last night's meeting, but to loop in a story that we heard on last night's meeting, and obviously I won't say who told the story, but somebody who was present at the meeting on Friday that they reference in the statement said that the board treated them with that same tone deafness, if you like, that same contempt. It seemed like any questions that were actually asked of the board at that meeting on Friday were met with the same form of response as what we got in the statement. It's just them all over at this point, and they're not even hiding it anymore. They're standing with their chest out and proudly showing how much they hate us, and it's shown through in that statement.
When you're reading that statement, the thing that rings around your mind is, do these people genuinely think we're this stupid? Because it feels like we every time the Celtic board speak, tone deaf is the term that's thrown about. And it's not thrown about lightly, it is bang on the money every single time, because any time that the board decides to come out of their cave and communicate with the fans, it's either to tell us off or to talk down to us and expect us to be gullible enough to buy whatever they say, take everything they say at face value and say, you know what, you're the guys in charge and I believe you. In that statement, they never came out and addressed any of the 7 questions laid out in that open letter, blatantly ignored it and decided to hide behind UEFA regulations that just was not true. Mm-hmm. If you read that statement as somebody that never knew anything about football and you read that, you would think them saying, oh, that's money in the bank, aye, but we can't spend that on anything. Mm-hmm. Like, that only goes to bonuses. Like, that is the sentiment you got for that. Aye. And it's just the whole, how little did they think of us to believe that we would lap that up and go, no, but, right, maybe we've overreacted, you guys know what you're doing. People are sick of it. And I think that's the difference this time, because we're going to talk about the meeting and that we were at last night, but I think right now, as a support as a whole, I've never seen it this unified in the sense of everybody's singing for the same hymn sheet in the notion, you want Michael Nicholson out, you want these people at the club, but where the issues of this that's going to arise is the methods that will need to be undertaken to get that message across, because you're never going to please everybody, and I'm sure we'll come into a lot more depth on that, but yeah, I think that's the main talking point going forward if you want to try and create change at the club.
Yeah, and just to kind of finish up on the statement, Calum, I think one of the worst parts about it, and we talk about the lack of accountability that's been taken at Celtic across all these different areas and pointing the finger at such and such, but it was an unsigned statement. There was no name attached to it. It was cowardly, you could say, but not Nicholson, not Lawwell, nobody, not one of them was willing to stand up and take, the fall, or just, I'm saying the fall as if that they actually care, because they don't, but it was unsigned. I mean, and it just shows you how much they know that they fucked it up, and how little acceptance they're willing to take in the terms of responsibility for fucking it up.
It's literally something as simple as that. If there was a signature at the bottom of that, their name, at least you could then say, right, do you know what, they're taking a bit of accountability here. They're actually coming out and saying, right, we can see, yes, we have fucked up. Where can we, then it should have been a case of, right, these are the steps we're going to take to correct this, get the fans back on side. But as you said, they've not come out and addressed who it is that's wrote it. As I said earlier, for it has just been some form of AI that could have wrote exactly that. You put it out, you publish it, and that's it. Essentially, it's like putting a tweet out and just muting it and not going back to it.
Aye.
That's
what they've done.
Something as daft as that, as if I went, fuck yous to Celtic support, muted it and left it. That's it.
And they've really stirred the pot this time, because fans won't take it lying down, and there has been so many opinions and so many concerns and so many voices that have chipped into what's next, and that was one of the main things that happened last night. We will talk briefly about that meeting and what we kind of took away from it. I've already done that a bit more in depth on my channel video yesterday, but Kieran, you were there on behalf of the podcast. You were representing the Celtic Thunder. I was there on behalf of the YouTube channel and representing that. Apologies, Calum. There was only one representative per signatory.
To be fair, the time I realised that Kieran done it against fans, so fair enough.
So Kieran, we'll bring Calum into it, of course, because I think there's been a lot already published, and we know what the next steps kind of are moving forward. Last night, for me, I've already said this, felt like a real step in the right direction, because even though there's still Celtic fans that are out there with differing opinions and different voices, this is the first time that I think there has been such a unity in the support where we can actually meet together. So even though there is people out there who don't want to partake in boycotts, that would rather not exit or enter games early or late, and even though there's some people out there that really just want to back the team more than anything else, now there's an actual place for us to come together and do things democratically, rather than, maybe somebody stands up and creates something which might create a sort of scab culture. This is something that is genuinely being brought forward with the initiative of trying to drive real change. And I don't know about you, but I thought last night was a real productive meeting.
See, that's what my main takeaway for last night, and I picked up on you said at the end there, democratic. That I think that's the most important thing moving forward, because when I went home last night and my dad wanted me to relay my thoughts on what happened and the progress that was made, the thing I said to him was, in the short term right now, nothing that's going to happen immediately isn't something you'd already have expected to have happened in the past. So if there was no meeting last night, I would have still been expecting some form of protest for like the North Curve and that in terms of late entry into the game. I would have expected that anyway. But I think the difference of reaching that conclusion after last night is if they put that out on Twitter without a consultation meeting for people to air their grievances, to talk things through, it would have... You know what Twitter and all these spaces are like? It's poison.
Aye.
It would have been immediate backlash and things
Start
like that.
twisting the words, people.
That room last night, whilst pretty much unified, there was obviously a few voices that maybe weren't in favour of that, and they're entitled to do what they want to do. I think that's what it was driven home last night. Any of these actions are individual actions, and it's an individual's choice to make them. But I think what's going to be important moving forward is what you said about the scab culture thing. You can't let it be a divisive topic. It will be, but you can't let it get to the point of infighting amongst fans because somebody's chose to do something and the other person hasn't. You can't... If you want it to progress seriously and not turn into a tit for tat retaliation with each other, you need to respect other people's choices when it comes to whether they want to take part in whatever action comes up. And I think that's got to be the main difference between now and 5 years ago, maybe, in the COVID season, and there was a lot of reactionary things that were happening and people were biting on things. But I think the main takeaway I said to my dad last night when I got in was it allowed for these conversations to take place in a space where you were free to hear your opinion and nobody was going to ram it down your
There was
throat and you
nobody
couldn't
in-
get your head bitten off for saying something.
Nobody in that room fought back
No.
with any venom, fought back with any sort of like I'm better than you or anything like that. It was a space that people were able to come together and stand up for their supporters on their buses, their viewers on their podcast, the parts of fan organisations, even minor shareholders. You know, there was a representation across so many different places. And I think you're spotting the money, Kieran. I think that, you know, the democracy that existed within the room is there to help people feel heard as well, because I even felt it in my video yesterday. I put my video up and within seconds I had people commenting going, this is going to do nothing but incite fans on fans, and people are going to be up against each other. I'm like, but that's the exact reason why these meetings have been called
that
to
right
action.
there paints the picture of the point I was making, because if that conversation was hidden on Twitter, it would have just been constant gone at each other. And when you have it in that setting, it allows for real discussion to take place. And I'm not saying we came out that room last night and we've got a 12-point plan where this is going to happen. It was very much an introductionary stage to what's hopefully going to be a bigger movement. And I think one of the things that was spoke about last night as well, briefly, but I think it's got to be something that's taking serious note of this time, is they were let off 5 years ago with the travesty of COVID. That season was an abomination. We got Peter Lawwell resigning only to come back, but you had people forgave them very quickly, and I think everybody's guilty of that because you got swept up and everybody was on the Ange Postecoglou train. I still maintain we got very lucky with that appointment because anybody else that could have went complete tits up, but Ange was the man for the job at the time. They got that right, but we allowed all the negativity to be swept away and forget how much they failed us that year. And we've been lucky the past few years in terms of no real serious competition for across the city. You can argue that that's very second as well, but I think with this time run, even if Celtic were to go out on Sunday and hammer Kilmarnock and then win 5 games from the trot, the notion of wanting these people out at the very top of Celtic still has to remain. It has to still be the goal. Even if the team on the park are performing, you can't forget how angry you were 2 weeks ago when that transfer window slammed shut and we were then signing Kelechi and Acho on a free after letting Hadabita leave, after all the stuff around Yang. So much went wrong in that transfer window and nobody's taking accountability for it. Do not let 4 or 5 wins on the bounce. I'm not confident we can get that. I'm just saying.
But I think in a bigger picture, don't let, if we were to win a treble this year, don't let that mask the fact that these are guys that have quite clearly the poison that exists within our football club. And I think I'll bring you in a second, Calum, because I feel bad you were here at the meeting and that, and you're just kind of sitting there going, but if people are familiar with Jeanette, who is the vice chair of the Celtic Trust, she was very good at speaking last night and trying to drill through the point, and this is something that is going to take a lot of persistence and patience. This isn't nobody, and I think there's this. I seen some comments in my video earlier, people expecting this to force change even as quickly as like the next few weeks, or even maybe as long as the next year. Guys, it's not going to be as simple as that, and I think there's this misconception out there that maybe us and like-minded people have this vision that it's going to change very, very quickly because we're going to enter stadiums late, or because we're going to protest at whatever or whatnot. I'm under no illusion. I'm not disillusioned by the possibilities of what might or might not happen. I'm under no illusions that this is going to be something that changes overnight. But I think one of the points that Jeanette, who I said a moment ago, really drilled through is it's about escalation, and it's about carrying it forward as long as possible with persistence and with patience. You can't just give up because you feel like you might be achieving nothing, or because you think it's taking too long, or because the team starts playing well again. Christ, even if they invest heavily in January, it doesn't call for us to sit back and go, it's about escalation. And I think that was put really, really well last night. And I think if there's an acceptance amongst the Celtic support that we can stick together, if we can, and it was brought up last night, if we can utilise platforms like ours and fan media to keep people reminded and to keep people that were constantly under action, there's no reason why we can't do better than what they had to do in the 90s. There's no reason why we can't do better than what happened a few years ago. We have we have our own power, and I think that's the main message I left with last night was, you can't underestimate the power of what the supporters have. It's a club that was made for its supporters. It was a club that lives for its supporters, and it's a club that will die for its supporters. Whether that day comes or no, we don't know, and I don't wish it ever to happen, but the supporters will be the beginning and end of this club, and I think that was something that I left the room as well with last night.
See, I agree with that completely, and there's also another key point that I want to mention before we move on for the events of last night, but I feel there was maybe a bit of back and forth in the room about, that won't work. But in a respectful manner, as we said, I don't think that will work. We need to think bigger picture. But I think I left the room believing that people can talk about short-term action and the bigger picture stuff in terms of you've got the Celtic Trust and that working away in the background, trying to collate shares, that side of things. Yep. But both can run parallel each other. Of
course, and that was, I wish I could have raised that last night.
That was the one thing. There was people saying, that won't work, but I think it's got to the point, it's no one or the other.
Why not both?
Like, there was enough people in that room, there's enough manpower across the Celtic support to coordinate.
Just to clarify, in case people don't know as well, there was 39,000 replies to the nearly 39,000 replies to the survey that was put out. So sorry, Kieran, not to knock you off, but that shows you the manpower.
That shows the scale that we're working with. Obviously, as it was said, it needs to be caveated that you can't take the results at face value, things like that. It needs to be done more in depth, but I think it shows that you can have the short-term action, maybe for shorter-term objectives or try to get people at the job, but to try and get real change, there was a lot of talk last night, not about what people would expect, maybe thinking about protests and things like that, but on a bigger picture, regarding shared issues at the club, like trying to focus on that side of things, and I think it's important to have these short-term and long-term objectives. And as you said, fan media, we've got a part to play in reminding people, even we've been guilty in the past of sort of brushing these issues to the side because the team starts playing well. But I think this time the board have really taken it a step too far in terms of they've pushed us, and I think this has been the boiling point for most of the support, and to have as many people unified and wanting heads to roll basically at the very top. It's the most I've seen in my lifetime.
Calum, of course, you weren't there, but with Phil Jen, of course, the statement was out this afternoon as well, and there was obviously the mention in the statement of a fan advisory board being put together, which once again reiterates the point that this is something they want to keep on going, this is something they're going to keep on top of, and if we constantly have fans representing different places, different buses, whatever, we're going to constantly have a voice that will stand up and say stuff. So when you read that statement today and you seen all of that, did it fill you with a confidence and a positivity about potential change moving forward for someone that wasn't in the room last night?
Definitely. I think it was nice to then be able to can obviously see it from being an outsider, not being able to be at the meeting, but you can definitely see the positivity in terms of where we want it to go. As you said, it's not a matter that's going to be fixed within weeks. It's not a matter that could be fixed by the end of the season. Sounds daft to go with it, but Aston Martin for Formula 1, that 5-year plan, it sounds daft, it's something that we need to work towards. And I'm absolutely all for, as you'd said, if there was to be that kind of like the fan board of it and folk to then go, I think that'd be fantastic. But again, you know, that's something that could really pull all fan groups together, all age groups, sorry, and then go, but you know, fine, well, the minute you start putting that to anybody higher up at the board, they'll just start trying to shoot it down. It's about that kind of, that togetherness. If you keep driving for it and going for the one cause, eventually you will get there for it. So you can only hope that last night was the first step on a long journey, but hopefully a positive one.
What's your thoughts on the planned protest for Sunday? Obviously, that is one that splits a bit of divide. People saying it doesn't help the team, and it doesn't. That was at the moment where I spoke only the one time at last night's meeting, and my point of view was that I get that, I understand that, and I do sympathise with those that feel truly affected by it. I don't like missing out on my team playing. I don't like feeling like I'm not supporting them. But there's a reason that my exact words were, there's a reason we're in this room tonight, and if it wasn't for that reason, we wouldn't be here. There is one entity that has harmed this team and this squad and this manager more than anybody else, and it's not us. It's the ones in the suits and the ties. It's the ones that sit up there. It's the ones that sit on their millions of pounds and refuse to improve the squad. They're the ones that have put us into this position of self-harm, and they're the ones that should pay the price for it. And it might not feel nice, but Celtic know that we're no going against them. They know we're there for them. And as somebody in the room worded it well, you know, football games only won in the first 10 minutes. They're winning the remaining 80. Yep. So what is your thoughts on the planned protest, and are you on board with it?
Definitely. I think 100% I get where the team and the board are two different things. You're there to back the players, you're not there to back anybody in the board. So yes, as you said, the players might feel in the first 10 minutes you've not quite got the atmosphere ramped up, it's not quite there for them. But you know, fine well, everybody else in that away end for the remaining 80, even the folk that are in there for the first time, they'll give everything to back the team. I think that's the main message, is continue to support the players and the manager, keep them backed, and everything else involved in the club, don't take notice of it.
Somebody in the room as well, Kieran, raised the point of, you know, once again, we all understand that it might feel like you're abandoning the team to some extent, but you can get creative with it. You know, if you put a banner out there that makes it perfectly clear, if it's along the notion of back the team, sack the board, it's not like the players are going to be under this illusion that we've gave up on them. We make it clear where our frustrations are vented, and we preface it with statements, and we preface it with something that tries to call for a unity, then it does have a clearer direction, and that's the point. And once again, these meetings.
See, I think as well, like, people with that notion, the players wouldn't have a clue and they'd think it's about them. We're not a club where the players, it might feel like they're out of reach sometimes and they live in this completely separate bubble. These are real people that will look on social media. These guys aren't they oblivious to...
Like a captain who has been born and raised, you know, in the city.
Like, they're not oblivious to what's happening at boardroom level. They might not speak about it out of fear. Getting their contracts ripped up by Peter Lawwell, but they're not completely oblivious to this. They're aware of what's going on behind the scenes. It's impossible not to be aware of it, and I think it's maybe a bit naive to believe that they would think that, but at the same time, I'm on board with any notion of the protest, and I know people might say, oh, you're not got to the game, so I don't have a ticket for it, but if I did, I would be missing the first 10 minutes. I just don't think... It's as we said before, but it's not about calling people out for their opinions. It's fair enough if you don't want
individual action,
but if you're against it, let the people that want to do it. If you're for it, don't moan at the people. I think that it exists on both sides, because I had somebody that commented on my video earlier, and it was along the lines of, if you want to go to a game and not be there for the first 10 minutes, then just get up your season book. You're not there supporting the team, and that's just the exact same notion. But it's the other side of the fence. The whole point in what we're trying to do here is to create a unity. And the unity being that if you don't want to partake, you don't need to feel forced to partake. And I get it, there is maybe a kind of pressure that exists subconsciously that you're not helping, you're not partaking. But nobody's, as we said, we're trying to drill out this narrative, any potential sort of scab or superiority. If you're there at Rugby Park on Sunday and you want to be there for the first 10 minutes, go to the first 10 minutes. Be there in the stands. Nobody's stopping you. What we're hoping for is that enough people do care enough
that they'll join in, even if it hurts them, even if it deeply upsets them that they're not there for that first 10 minutes. If they can see the image that we're trying to create, hopefully people can go, you know what, it's for a bigger picture, it's for a greater good, and then they join in.
See, I think that's the whole thing about being a football fan, but because that's the disparity between us and the people at boardroom level. For them, everything is business, it's financial decisions. They've not got the, they might say they're Celtic fans, but they've not got the emotion attached to it the way that supporters do. People, like, that Celtic is a lot of people's only way for social life. It's everything they do. It's what they look forward to at the weekends. It's what everybody looks forward to. And to then say that you're not going to go to a game or you're going to miss this or that when it's been part of your routine for years, that's a very emotive thing. That's something that's no easy to do. And as you say, that is about making that choice, whether you want to do it or whether you don't want to. But that's the thing as well. If you're looking to drive change, there's going to be some uncomfortable ways of trying to get that. And it's just whether or no we as a support are unified enough and are willing to take these steps.
What did I say to you last night when we left the building? And I don't mean to be like the board. I'm not trying to make a dig at the other side of the city. This isn't my time to try and squeeze in the wee jab. But there's a reason that the other club across the road died, because they didn't pull together. They didn't save their club. And I wasn't old enough to know all of the intricacies that was going on at the time and to know exactly what happened and how many fans tried to pull whatever together and shares-wise and whatever. But this is the exact thing we're trying to do here, is go through the uncomfortable so that we can come out the other side better. Something that the other side didn't do and paid for quite gravely. Now, I know that the situations are incomparable. Celtic aren't at death's door. We aren't about to face the tax man for liquidation. It's a completely different story altogether. But the end goal is the exact same. It's for better at the club and it's for better for our supporters. And sometimes you just need to do the uncomfortable to make that happen.
As you were saying there, like this situation, it's no comparable to theirs, but this is a situation that's been created by the incompetency of the people running the club.
Yep.
Everything that's happened this summer was so avoidable. They could have avoided this massive shitstorm that they've let themselves in for if they'd just done their jobs properly, if they had a clear footballing strategy for the club, if there was clear communication with the fans. That's the thing as well. I'm not going to be an expert on other teams and the communication they receive for boardroom level, but at Celtic, it feels sometimes like these people running the club are almost like mythical figures because you never hear a peep for them. There's no communication, as I said earlier, unless they're telling the fans if they're doing something, got fined in Europe, something like that. That's the only ever time you hear for the club, or when it's season ticket renewal time. If there's something they want for you, or to scorn you for, then they're the most open people in the world. But when it comes to us asking genuine questions, it's radio silence. These people seem like they're untouchables, that they cannot be ousted from the positions, that they don't feel like they need to answer to anybody. And that's the situation we're now at. We've got a boardroom where there's no real representation for the Celtic fans. That was discussed last night as well. The people that are non-executive directors are meant to be the voice, a reason in that boardroom to tell people to take a step back and think of the people that are putting money into this business, and we don't have that. We've got a dysfunctional boardroom that clearly have their own self-interests at heart, and that's where the issues stem from.
Yep, I couldn't word it better myself, Kieran. I couldn't, and I think we've touched ground on basically every corner of what we achieved or wanted to achieve on this episode of the show, and it's not something, as we said, we're not planning on letting it go away. We will be constantly talking about it, and we want it to be active. So just to wrap up on this whole section of the show, Calum, I mean, it's not going to be an easy process. We know that. We know that we're under no illusions about how untouchable Dermot Desmond is in his position of great wealth and power. We're under no illusions of how difficult it might be to oust people. But if time isn't a thing here, what is just your hope about what comes from all of this? What should be the final aim and vision for this be? What is the end goal?
You would like to think that the fan representation can get themselves into a position of power as such, but a position where
a voice.
Everyone, like a voice to be heard. Exactly. So if these meetings were more of a regular thing, if it was even just once or twice a month and it's doing it, all these fan things can then get fed up to them, as opposed to just so many people shout about it and nothing's heard. You hope everybody pulls together, and it's that kind of unity that we can kind of drive forward with.
And then obviously the other ones go as well, all well and all the rest of it.
There we go.
Kieran, I mean, just to wrap up, any kind of final thoughts on that note that Calum's maybe touched on as well? Anything that I've missed?
I think it is just important to drill home, as you have said, the notion that it's not going to be a short-term attainable fix.
Aye.
It's something that it's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to get, if you persist in talking about this, which we will, you're going to get the sort of thing down the line of what he's moaning about. Celtic have winning these games and that. It's about no forgetting how many times this board have failed us in the past, how many times they've made your blood boil. And it's easy to forget that when the team's flying, and it's easier than now because performances have been very poor. The transfer window's fresh in the mind. The whole palaver and the
Missing
statement.
out the Champions League.
Missing out the Champions League. Everything's still so raw now. And I think that was why the key messages last night was we've got lightning in a bottle here. We need to utilise that and keep it going while people still remember. Because in the past, as I said, we're all guilty of it. People forget.
Aye.
And it has to be different this time.
100%. Well, we'll keep you up to date as much as we can. I don't know when the next meeting is scheduled yet. We're still in the process of understanding how the fan advisory board will work and who will be on said fan advisory board. So as soon as there's correspondence from the organisers, you will hear it through them first and then subsequently through us. So just, keep an ear out, keep an eye out, and we'll get there eventually. The good guys always win. You know that by now. Right, half-time, and we'll have a wee quick half-time quiz just to bring some fun into the situation.
Jeez, it was a bit of joy.
I tell you, I think that was one of our best efforts ever, to be fair. That was a very well...
I'm sweating. I forgot how warm this room gets.
I feel like we didn't even address the fact that we're upstairs today as well.
I've got a telly above my dome.
Like, people might have the two shots and a pint stuff behind us. Might notice that. I think Toll just about makes it in. God bless you, Toll, if you're somehow watching. I know you're a big Sellik man. Right, we're going to do Who's That Tick, which of course means the song will play. And it is, think about seasons we've just discussed, it is going to be kind of themed around a season that we have just discussed. What?
Is it themed around misery?
It's themed, it is absolutely themed around misery. So I will give Kieran the option if he would like to go player A or player B.
I'll go player B.
Oh, you're going player B. All right, okay.
I already regret my decision.
Right.
That tone of voice.
Right. Well, Calum,
I'm not looking forward to this.
I feel like you might get it.
I'm not
So
gonna
your
get it.
your player joined Celtic from Arsenal and left Celtic for West Ham United. So he joined from Arsenal and left for West Ham United. Kieran's nodding. He said, "Do you know it?" Aye. As always, I'll trickle a couple of clues in if I need to, because you look confused.
It's the Arsenal part I'm trying to think of first.
I would have forgot where he came from exactly, to be fair.
I've got a clue, but
I know exactly. I can hear it in my head, the clue and everything. He joined Celtic in 2018 and left in 2020. No, sorry. He joined Celtic in 2020. No, it was 2018. Aye, God, I didn't think it was as early as that. But senior team kind of emerged in 2021. He left in 2023. He only made 2 senior appearances for Celtic. I think that's about as much as clues I could give you, without giving you the obvious.
I don't remember left and... No, that wasn't it. Was that before 2023?
If you have a guess, feel free.
I don't think it was West Ham, but... Was it Okaflex?
It is.
Well
done.
Mako was just going to be
Baby! I could hear it in my head.
These heat says are quiet.
Baby!
I was trying to think, and then it's because you say that a time of misery, and I was like, right, COVID.
I knew you would get there eventually. I knew you would.
Aye.
I knew you
Annoyed
would.
it took me that long, but
I genuinely, I forgot it was the Arsenal Academy that came for it.
it was Arsenal. I couldn't think at all.
Aye, I would have completely forgot
That
that
was
was.
gun at my head and asked what club did they come from.
Aye.
I'd never have said
Oh, I
that.
would. I would have. Honestly, it would have took me. It would have took me quite a while. Aye. So there you go. Player A. Congratulations, Calum. You got your one right on the halftime quiz. But the question is, can Kieran Auld follow up with the making it 2-2 for the halftime quiz? So, Kieran, your player joined Celtic from. Hold on, the page is loading. I've clicked on his profile, and the page is just it's just refusing to load. Come on. Right, there we go. It's loaded. Your player joined Celtic from Hapoel Beersheva and left Celtic for Hapoel Beersheva.
El Ahmed.
Yes.
I'm like, it's got to be.
Yes. I was. Do you know what? Because I was looking at the entire squad from that season, and because it's probably mostly because it's fresh in the mind, there isn't many players there that we'd struggle with. Like the other one I looked at giving one of these was Christopher Julian, and I'm like, if I said came to Celtic from Toulouse, went to Montpellier, I think we'd all go at that.
I thought you were going to go more niche. Like, see with the way you said, like when you said, "Oh, right," I thought you were going to hit me with like Leo Helda, Cameron Harper.
Well, Cameron Harper was a consideration.
Who did we get him for?
He came from Patadores SC.
And then he went to like New York Red Bulls.
New York Red Bulls.
It was,
And he's now not playing football, I believe.
Fair enough. But you
who's the play again?
Sorry, Calum, what were you saying?
Is it Bolton? You signed him for?
Bolton? Who?
It was some youth player. It was supposed to be the next best thing.
Liam Shaw? Sheffield Wednesday?
No, it's
Right,
not.
do you mind we signed that Leo Connor for Man United?
Man United, is that who
Aye,
you're thinking?
sorry,
Leo
sorry,
Connor?
sorry,
Aye.
At the time, I was more buzzing about getting him than I was
Frimpong.
Frimpong.
Same, because
Aye,
obviously,
sorry,
because I've had a wee bit of an interest in Manchester United,
Aye.
like, I knew he was the captain of like the under-16s, under-18s, under-21s. He was, I was like, oh, this boy's got to be the shit. And then don't think he ever fucking played.
Don't know when I get Bolton.
Aye. That's no
Aye,
farty.
that was
No farty Bolton. Right, well done, lads. That was a good wee quick one, especially because we are fucking running. I mean, we're like 40 minutes in.
Oh, wait.
Aye, 40 minutes in. We went hard in the
First
part.
segment.
So let's have a quick conversation about Killie at the weekend. We'll try and keep it short and sweet, maybe about 5 minutes or so. First and foremost, Calum, right, board aside, Celtic just haven't been good enough on the pitch. Tactics have been poor, performances have been poor. We need to get the finger out.
Definitely. I think more so when you see the comments from the Kilmarnock striker today, obviously the Sky Sports done a wee segment with them, basically came out and said, like, we should be banking on Celtic coming here in poor form, we should be good and taking a result. You know?
Aye.
Well, straight away it should be that typical, well, there you go, Brendan, there's your team talk. Just play that wee clip for them. But even if he does play that, we still don't seem to be up to much in terms of actually putting the ball in the back of the net.
I do love what constitutes poor form at Celtic. I like we're top of the league. We're not but lost a game. I mean, this is the exact reasons we're having a meltdown ourselves, but it's just funny that that's what constitutes poor form. But no, Calum, the Derby performance was terrible. It was one of the worst Derby performances I think we've ever seen, and there was no... I mean, we are on a run of games right now where you feel like Celtic are never going to score again. We need goals this weekend.
I mean, for me, the starting 11 be that Legends team that went out last weekend. Please they get 2 goals.
That team would spank us.
No, you would like to think the players that went away had their international period and such and have come back. You'd like to think we can hopefully, Iheanacho comes in, can hopefully hit the ground running, get a good performance out of him, but you want a better team performance overall because, as you touched on, that Derby, the game it felt null and void essentially. There was just nothing there.
Aye. I mean, there has been, Kieran, a sort of mini narrative that I've seen emerging on Twitter that Brendan Rodgers is maybe a bit lucky that things have been as bad as they are at the club. And I think some people like to take things to the extreme sometimes, but there has to be an acknowledgement that Brendan Rodgers hasn't been setting up the team well enough. He hasn't been changing the game when he needs to, and that's something that we know he's capable of doing. We know he's a top quality manager, but he needs to start showing that on a frequent basis when times get tough, especially.
Nothing has been up to standard this season across the club, and the manager included, because some of the results yes, he's been hung out to dry by the board. That is why we've sat here and discussed it for 40 minutes. But at the same time, the squad should have been able to get past Kieran Auld. The squad should have been putting in a far better performance against Rangers, a Rangers team that themselves are in a bit of a crisis in terms of performances. But now we're coming back to the international break praying that we can put that start to the season behind us and try and find a bit of rhythm to our play, because every time we've played, it's just felt so fractured and there's no fluidity whatsoever with the play. Players that you used to rely on to be the driving force in the team, like Calum McGregor, I've not seen that man take a ball in the half turn in about 6 months.
He's somebody else, just like Rodgers, who's there's a narrative emerging. Maybe he's getting away with murder.
So there's some big questions that I think are going to be maybe not fully answered, but people are going to get a rough idea where we're at on Sunday, because I was saying this in work as well. When you think of games that you want to try and bounce back in after maybe a tough run on or off the park, Killie away is not the one you want to.
No.
Up there will be Livy away as well, but it's just playing on the plastic surface. It sounds like we're making excuses, but we do this every time we play on a plastic surface. But it's impossible for us to play the football we want to play. But if you watched us this season, you think we're playing on a plastic park every single game, because it's felt like every performance has been like that. So I think it's time for players to step up, and it's time for Rodgers to show that he can adapt when games need it. He can make the changes earlier than the 60-minute mark, admit that he's got things wrong and no persist with it.
Aye.
There's going to be... I feel we spoke about this at the start of the transfer window if we left it late and that, but the pressure that's now been heaped on the shoulders of players like Wisha and Astonetsky that have came in, there's always a pressure at Celtic. You need to perform well, but I feel like after the absolute clusterfuck summer we had, the absolute disaster we had in trying to get players in the door, as soon as you get some players in the door, they need to hit the ground running.
Aye. And
it sounds selfish and entitled to say that they need to come in and be a world beater, but to try and get the fans believing again, you need to come in and show that we haven't wasted our money.
Aye.
And I think that's a very tough ask, especially away to Killie. I mean, Killie haven't won in the league yet. They've only won
4 draws.
4 draws, and 3 of them were 2 eaches.
Aye.
That's wild.
So we're destined for a 2 each, Sunday boys. I like that you've brought in, because the next talking point on the running order was to mention Wisha tonight's game, and Iheanacho. Of course, we've already seen a glimpse of Wisha, albeit not a very good one. But it's certainly not grounds to write the boy off. And Calum, it'll probably be the first time we see Iheanacho in tonight's game as well. You already kind of said it'd be nice to see Iheanacho get off on a good start. But it is important to get these lads bedded in and to get them bedded in quickly. And I think what's just more important is that they give us positivity. Moving forward, being brave to take a man on, especially the 2 wingers, of course, and to just provide a flair that's been missing so far this season.
Definitely. I think, as we touched on, like Balikwisha with his debut against Rangers, it didn't really live up to the heights of kind of what most fans would have expected.
Aye.
In terms of just going and taking a man on. It didn't really, because you don't know how many times I shouted at Telly, like, go and take him a run, go and stretch your leg. There's clearly a player there. It's just as if there was just a wee something that just wasn't quite there for him. So yeah, it'd be brilliant for him, and then Tenetsky as well, as I said, it'd be ideal to kind of see him. Unfortunately, it's on a plastic surface, which isn't really ideal.
Aye.
But no, I think it'll be. You'd like to think that they'll be a bit more direct.
How many of the 3 do you think will start? We shall surely start again.
I'd imagine maybe 1 pushing 2.
I mean, Iheanacho's been, ushered in, but like his match fitness must be at a fucking low. Like,
nah, I don't see him start.
So
we'll bring him on for 2 minutes on Sunday, and then the next game 3 minutes.
Till he's shedded £20, and then
that's it doesn't look as in terrible a shape as I thought he was. I'm enjoying, even for some of the people on the other side, making the
memes.
Being massive. That's a good laugh.
Do you know what? I'm going to address it once and for all, and I don't care if I sound like a bitter sourpuss or whatever you want to call me here, right? See the videos of him training and people going, oh, he looks good. He's fucking peace.
He's not playing against him.
Any fucking professional footballer should look good in a one-on-one fucking training drill. Or not even a one-on-one. I don't think there was a keeper there. It was just him. Yeah, it was just him. If you're a professional footballer and you manage to make yourself look shite, God knows how you've made it as a pro. So he looks great. Oh, he's ready to go. But because he's doing a Cal the Dragon out the back garden. Like, fucking geese pace. And that's not me. Like, I'm rooting for the guy. Of course I'm. Every single person that puts the hoops on at Celtic, I want them to succeed. And that includes Kieran Auld, despite the fucking horrible circumstances that have led us to this point. I'm obviously rooting for the guy to do well. But spare me the drivel. That video means that he's fucking... You know, that's that.
We saved him for playing in the back garden like the Dragon.
And the bins and the gnomes and all that.
See, just was talking about, like, we're not happy about it, but we'll back him and that. Like, does this kind of give you the same sort of feeling as when, different circumstances, I suppose, but when Adamida got brought in on loan, everybody said panic.
It's got that vibe to it, innit?
Like, purely because everybody was like, we're not angry at the player, we're angry at the board for making this call, and it turned it to do alright in these 6 months. Well, better than alright, but... Let's hope for the same miracle this time round.
I think you're hoping we can sort of replicate what you did do when it came in those 6 months.
As we said earlier, but we're not at the stage where we're just hoping that it works out.
Aye.
We shouldn't be in this situation.
No. That shouldn't be. That's like the people who are chuffed with it. I salute you. But I think that if I was to pretend that I'm chuffed with it, it would be performative of me. I'm not chuffed with it. As I said, I will back the guy, but the fact that we are here is embarrassing. It's really, really embarrassing. This is a guy that knocked us back in January to play for Middlesbrough, and he went on to score 1 goal. I'm sorry that my expectations are pretty low, but hopefully he can change that. I really am hoping for it. It's going to be like Ida or again. And he came in, and I was getting it fucking fucking terrible, and bang, won us the cup and won us the league. So I hope he has the same magic. I'll avoid the starting 11 predictions because we really need to get a crack on here. So very quickly, your score predictions, if you dare, for Sunday.
I'll go for a hopeful 2-1 Celtic.
2-1.
I know. I'll go 2-0. I think we've not conceded a goal yet in the league.
I don't know. Actually, we never really touched on it. We've still not got time a bit with Schmeichel as well. Like the fact that folk obviously slating him, he's looked this and that, but yet to concede a goal. And I know a lot of that's just down to the fact he doesn't face too many chances, but I mean, you can only...
And he's a wee bit jailbait with his sometimes.
But like, he can only do it. He does what he does, you know. Anyway, very quickly, it is 3 o'clock, isn't it?
Aye.
Yeah.
It's on the telly?
Yeah, because it's Sunday they're allowed to.
Right. Just wasn't sure, I said 3 o'clock
You'll miss
Sunday,
a bit of the Manchester derby.
Oh, I fucking...
Because that's a half-4 kick.
Listen, as long as I can tune in to see Amarim getting sacked at the end, it's fine. Right, 12 questions. I was going to give you the pleasure of hosting, Kieran, but I've got them up in front of me, so I may as well crack on. Adam is here, as always, saying, how hard will it be not to buy kebab pies because of these dinosaurs? I already missed them.
Well, I think I've got a business plan.
right.
Set up shop. Right outside the turnstile.
Are you going to raid the Carntine Butchers for a kebab pies?
I'll pay them. But I will charge fellow Celtic fans double.
£7.50.
I'm sorry, boys, but this is purely strictly business.
It's a price that you have to pay for a kebab pie. No, I am going to do my absolute best to put... Because I think that the whole point was raised, and I don't want to spend too much time on this specific question, bloody hell, kebab pies, but this was kind of raised at the meeting last night about putting pressure on from other places. And when people said boycott the kiosks at first, there was a lot of like, they're subletted, it's not actually Celtic that run it. Aye. But what you don't understand is if you don't put your money into them, then they have the right to turn around to Celtic and go, we're not making any fucking money here. Please your supporters or we're out of here. Yep. And you can set up your own fucking kiosks because we're not making a penny. Put that pressure on them. Don't buy for them. Don't give them money. Even if you think it's not going to the club, put the pressure on Dermot Desmond's pockets. Put the pressure on the pockets of the board because these companies will turn. And it's the same with not buying merch with Adidas. Adidas might have a 10-year contract with Celtic, but see if they're not making the money every year, they'll turn around and go, what's going on here? Adidas are one of the world's biggest companies. And if Dermot Desmond starts to get a bad look after them, that's when he'll feel it. So that's just my opinion.
In terms of sneaking food in, they've been upping the pat downs on the way in. I don't know how I'm going to get in with my full tiger roll and all this up.
Shop port. I'll try and help you. I'll take an extra jumper or something. Aaron said, Aaron saying, what's your least favourite squad number ever given to a Celtic player? Mine's is either Julian getting 2 or Kyogo getting 8. Iheanacho getting 17. This striker's up there as well. I grew to the 8 didn't bother me as time went on.
No, it was odd to see it first, but I really warmed to it. But I don't know. I feel like surely someday
I've
getting the
got
number
one.
7.
But
sacrilege.
I didn't like when Joe Hart had, was it 35 he started with?
15.
15.
Aye.
Didn't like that. Why did I say 35? I know because I knew he was 25 at City and I knew it was 10 out. Didn't like that.
I know it's cliche, but anybody wearing the number 13 just fucks me.
Aye.
Yang.
Yang.
Aye.
You got any Calum, any suggestions?
I don't know. It all comes down to that classic what position they play in.
Aye.
For example, like 2 and a centre half, might not.
Nah,
That's a full
that's
back.
a right back's number.
Aye.
Talking about 15, what about when Johnny Hayes was then getting played as like just a left back with
Aye.
15 on his back?
Aye.
That's
Aye.
wrong. You could kind of forgive that because he was a winger.
Aye.
But change your number.
I don't know, 14 and Armstrong, I think.
Oh,
14's
really?
a winger for me
Aye.
again. It's not quite used to.
I don't mind if you 14 on a central.
I just don't think
midfielder.
about the number 14 that much in football. It's not a number that stands out to me, you know. Aye. 23 should only be allowed for goats, like because of Jordan and Braun. Lustig. He was allowed it because he is quite literally a goat, but like if you're a dud and you're coming to Celtic and picking nah. And I know this is my American side coming out, like because I love basketball and that, right? But you should not be allowed to wear the number 23 unless you're good at that number is fucking iconic. Like take that off your back if you're shite. That's one that irks me a wee bit.
I don't think there's any more for me.
Nice, we've covered that well. Kieran saying, similar to the new style Celts for Change and following the Ultras Group's current collective across Scotland, could something similar happen across Scottish football with supporter groups and podcasts and forums joining together on issues such as ticketing prices and fan experience? I mean, that can't rule stuff like that happening in the future. I mean, we're only kind of starting this new kind of...
I mean, it could be a force that... A force for good and trying to make even smaller changes, maybe not with tickets, but fan experience and things like that. It's stuff that affects every one of us, so anything you can do to drive that forward. I'm pretty sure most people in the sort of fan media space would be all on board for trying to spearhead something like that, but as you said, I think that's down the line.
Mm-hmm. So it's a very valid question though. Nathan asks, I'll ask you first, Calum, has the international break brought back even just a little bit of excitement to watch Celtic again? After after the derby, the thought of watching this again was depressing. Has that changed?
Ever so slightly, I think more just because I just do not care for international football unless it's a major tournament, and even then it's no Scotland, it's just watching a major tournament I enjoy. So yeah, I've got kind of a bit of hope for Sunday, but I know come 3 o'clock I'll probably be drowned right out me.
Nice, love that. Now here's a really good question. Pierce asks, how do we think Rodgers will handle the presser tomorrow? Now, remember, this podcast will be out at some point on Friday. The presser might have been by now. We record on a Thursday night. But this is after the back of that. He's not spoke since the article came out that apparently he was masterminding his own exit from the club. He was engineering his way out. That's going to get brought up tomorrow. How is he going to play it?
I mean, how do you even talk to the media after that? Because he's just going to be getting a barrage of questions about that, because obviously it wasn't the board that came out and explicitly said it, but they've leaked it to sources and went through their usual channels of the media to try and get the news out there and try and deflect away from themselves. But he's got to still be fuming. He's in a position where his hands are tied behind his back and the people above him are doing everything they can to try and drive him out and make him fail.
Aye.
So how can you put on a brave face and a smile for the cameras? But then again, it's Brendan Rodgers who's the master of deception. He's just going to come out tomorrow and go, milk lemonade.
I'm very curious, because I'm not even going to lie to you, until I read that question, I completely forgot about that article. Slipped my mind entirely. This whole show didn't even come across my mind once. So I'm very intrigued to see what he'll say about it. I think his face will say a lot. I think, he's a guy that is either laughs away or he's serious.
Very stern.
So we'll see. We'll see. On that note, we have Chunk Yogurt saying, what are the chances Celtic are actively... What?
Just between that name and I just think I'm getting in to see the Steve Bruce. I just no saying a word.
What are the chances Celtic are actively planning for Rodgers' exit at the end of the season? How do they plan to attract a manager given the public humiliation of the operation failings? It's something that's been raised a number of times, isn't it?
I guarantee there's been no thought put into that by the people running our club. There is no strategy moving forward. It's winging it at every opportunity.
I don't see them even considering that until about February or March time. And then they go.
They seem like a group of people that are, we'll cross that bridge when we come
yeah,
here.
yep.
Right, we're going to rapid fire some so we can move on to the full-time quiz. We have, I'm sorry for rushing the questions today, but we've fucking spoke for Scotland, and that's on us, sadly. First of all, big shout out to Channel 67, who I don't know if you've clocked.
I watched the video.
Watched it today. Once again, cracking video for Paul. Loved it. He said, forever on the right good Tim's list in my book.
Thank you.
Oh, guy. Ever considered doing a live show of the pod? We have spoken about it, and we are going to get round to it. We will do it at some point. I think in the past we've kind of spoke about it and looked for timing and stuff, and we've just never really properly struck when the iron's been as hot. It's something we definitely want to do. We want to hear about hunger for it. I mean, we've got however many Thunder Club members as well now that I'm assuming would be keen for it, and I know that we're all keen at this table to do it. So
I would love to do it.
Aye. Get a venue sorted and get pished and
make a right ass of myself.
Tell you what, I'd fucking collapse. See when Paul John was bringing that mic to me last night, my heartbeat, I couldn't get my words out, man. My heartbeat was pure.
I was shaking for you.
I was like, I felt like saying at the start, like, hello, Ryan Fitzsimons representing Ryan Money, and trust me, it's far more difficult doing this than sitting in front of the camera. And my heart was just pure going. I'm like, what the fuck am I nervous for? Like, we're all here for the same thing.
I'd still do the same. I'd love us to do a live show, but just at the 40, I'd need to have a good famous for it.
So, Paul, look, listen, if we do one, you're obviously welcome. We would love to have you. Right, rapid fire ones. Liam Wallace, who would win a naked wrestling match? Peter Lawwell, Nicholson, or Desmond?
Desmond. Is that Tash? Just going to drag him.
He's a slippery wee bastard.
His hand's constantly slipping out his pocket, innit? With Rodgers probably away at the end of the season, who would be your early pick for his replacement? We spoke about this in the Thunder Club last week. In fact, it was the whole Thunder Club episode. My pick was, I think I went with Kieran McKenna, personally. Even if you were just to maybe lift the realms of realistic... Just for a wee second, I think I went McKenna. Danny Rowe is Jack Brown's suggestion, which I don't think is a bad one by any stretch.
I don't have a name at the top of me. Just get it to me.
Did you see somebody last week? I'm sure you did.
I definitely did. And my head went blank.
I can't think either.
Like I said, the boy for Brighton, if he managed to get the sack.
Oh,
wee young manager,
sacked,
plays decent stuff.
Aye.
I'd fancy him.
Aye, that would be an ideal one. It'll be Graham Potter. We're going to have to fucking
Eric Ten Hag.
Yeah, I'd take him. Maybe no. Actually.
We'll cross that bridge when we come.
If you had to choose between keeping the current Celtic board and having Luke Littler through every set of darts Peter Wright has ever used, I'm so confused.
I think I read that question. I think he's meaning, would you rather... What was the first bit? Would you rather...
keep the current Celtic board and having Luke... I've gave up.
See, I read it as if like the option was keep the Celtic board, but if you get rid of them, Luke Littler gets to throw every set of darts that Peter Wright's ever used at you.
Oh, right. That's
put the wee holes in me with the darts, man.
If you could use, here's one for you, Calum. If you could use one WWE finisher on Lawwell, Nicholson, Mackay, and Desmond without a repeating finisher, which would you like to use on each? Christ, so 4 finishers. I'll take it. What would you? Just one. If you could,
it's Big John's in it. So
you go for the
just
keep it simple.
Aye,
fine. I think I'd go for the Kimura lock and just refuse to let go. Simone spikes under the end. Just like a maniac. That's gonna get clipped.
It's like me when I did a hacker.
Right, we've got Liam, we've got to get Liam's traditional in. Kieran, how are you, my man? Seen Calum in the pub the other day and he said you were a shite bag.
No, because he said,
excuse me.
Because he walked past me in the pub, I was in a works night out.
Oh, right,
and he said, where's Kieran? And I said, Kieran's out in the local.
Ah, right. Anyway, just wondering what your ideal beer situation is. Shower beer, airport beer.
Oh,
Mind that time Scott Brown won the league at Rugby Park. We were
I
there.
remember it very well.
We were
And
there.
I think airport beer
Is
for
that
me.
your favourite?
Love it.
My favourite kind of beer is beside the pool, holiday beer with a cigarette in the other hand. Not that I'm here to endorse smoking.
My favourite, if I've gone with that, an aeroplane beer with a cigarette.
Alarm beating what fuck.
The pilot screaming in my face.
We've got to land this plane because of you.
This is the life.
Calum, ideal pint situation.
I don't know. I think it's like, see if you've got an event that day. So, for example, like go to the races.
Right.
It's your first beer, like the first beer
of the day.
before the way there. I'm like, it's quite
On
like
the
a day.
train,
Aye.
on the way down, it's just pulled at a central.
Life is good.
I'm gutted when I got the Gold Cup, man.
I know.
Fucking engagement party nonsense. Finally, last question from Jake. Celtic or Rangers, boys? Nowadays, I'm joking.
Yeah, you left the thinker to the end, right?
Right, thank you, and sorry if we didn't get to your question, because we are fucking running wild on time. I think we're at an hour and 5 minutes, so let's go and do the quickest full-time quiz in our history, and I don't want to put pressure on anybody, but see if you don't know, just pass, and we'll get through this rapid fire. So both of you got it right in the halftime quiz, but Calum, because you didn't choose set A or set B in that, I'll let you choose right now. Would you like to be set A or set B?
Just go set A. Get it undone.
Set A, okay doke. Right, question one's a cracker actually after the I won't say too much actually. New signing, Sebastian Tenetsky is set to make his debut, but what kit number will he be wearing? Think very carefully. We had a conversation about kit numbers.
Is it 14?
No, it's not 14.
Because you looked at me because of me complaining about it.
23.
See, I thought the
23.
the fullback took 23 or no?
Who's the fullback?
The boy that came in. Sriracha.
Sriracha, no,
think
he's
he's
20. Is he not 25?
Is it?
He's 25, aye.
That's how
Aye.
I get him confused with him.
He's
I thought it's
25.
because of the way you looked
Is he
at it.
no,
17?
17.
Aye.
17.
Right, Kieran. Which man played for and managed both Celtic and Kilmarnock? Tommy Burns. Correct, Amundo. 1-0 to Kieran. Calum, in which month did we lose an away match last? So an away match in the league. When was the last time it happened?
Oh fuck. Fuck no, March.
So close. April.
April.
St Johnson away.
St Johnson.
Ah,
The
fuck,
1-0.
aye.
Aye. See, to be fair, I
Can't
couldn't remember
remember.
what month it was. I would have been fucking guessing. Right, Kieran, to go up 2-0, how many players did Celtic end up signing / loaning in the summer window? You've got a window of one on so you can be one off on either side.
So how many did we?
How many did we sign and loan? So altogether, how many players came into the club?
9.
Oh! It was 11. Bastard. It was 11. On this day, you picked 9, it was 11. It's 9-11.
Something there.
Something there. Right, Calum, this is a big opportunity for you. True or false? We once started a front three of Mikey Johnston, and Luis Palma away to Kilmarnock.
False.
It's true.
True.
It happened. It happened.
Was that the game in the December we got beat?
December
I was
2023.
at Kingston that day.
Couldn't hang it off Johnson.
It feels like that was too shite to be true.
Aye, that's
And
the
bang.
exact thing.
Nat Phillips' own goal that day.
Yes, I think
Ah,
so.
fuck.
Aye.
Big donkey.
Right, Kieran, it's a true or false for you as well. Celtic have lost more times than they have won under Brendan Rodgers at Rugby Park. True or false?
False, but narrowly.
Correct. 5 wins, 4 losses, 9 matches. So, Calum, you really need this one to keep any hope alive. Any of our new signings could join which player in the current squad on scoring on their debut? So there's only one player in the current Celtic squad who scored on their debut. Who is it?
Wait, what?
So, which player in the current Celtic squad scored on their debut?
Dyson?
Yes, correct. Dyson Maeda. That's the right
Aye.
answer. So, Kieran, to win, to go up 3-1, Celtic and Kilmarnock are part of how many clubs yet to lose a match this season in the Premiership?
Oh, I looked at the table earlier as well.
Is
Three.
How many did you say?
3.
Nathan's got 6.
Is it 6? There's been a lot of draws.
Is it 6? Is that how many still to
is it
lose?
Motherwell, Rangers, Killie. They're all draws.
Celtic, Hearts, Hibs, Kilmarnock, Motherwell, Rangers. That's insane, that.
6
I wanna-
invincible seasons inbound.
The draws, just because I think they're on 4 points each other.
Right, well, Calum, to give yourself a chance, a fighting chance, you need to get it right. Question 5. How many goals did we score on our only trip to Rugby Park last season? We only had one visit. They came to Celtic Park twice.
Fuck. I cannot think for the life of me.
I would never have remembered there, to be fair.
Nah. So what was the question again?
How many goals did we score on our only trip to Rugby Park last season?
2.
Correct. 2-0 win.
I don't know. I was going to say 1 until you said goals.
I would
So
have
I
said
did.
3.
That was clever. That was
So
really
only I
clever.
don't know why I thought I 1-0 maybe, but
Right, Kieran, you need to get it right to win. If not, we go to a tiebreaker. Which player is set to reach the milestone of 150 Celtic appearances on Sunday?
Oh, shite.
I've not got a fucking scooter.
I know, I don't know
Could
about
be a tiebreaker.
I actually don't know. It's got to be wrong, but Liam Scales.
He only just hit 100. I'm pretty sure.
And I had no idea.
The correct answer is Rio Hatate.
Fucking
There
hell.
you go.
No, I would not guess real.
So we're getting a tiebreaker. What a comeback
What's the
for
score
Calum.
anyway?
2 each.
2 each. What ones did I get right?
You got Tommy Burns and you got the true or false. There you go.
What was the first question?
Tommy Burns.
Was it?
Aye.
What a long quiz.
You're trying to doubt my quiz hosting abilities
I
here.
just don't even remember any of the
Right,
questions. I got.
for the tiebreaker, it's straightforward. I'm going to tell you the question. It is a number-related question. I'm going to count you down from 3, and you're going to say a number, right? So, how many Celtic players played in senior international games over this break? So, how many in senior international games over this break? Think of a number, and I'm going to count down from 3, and you just say that number. 3, 2, 1.
4.
Oh, wow. Well, it's the first draw of the season. Because the answer wasn't the answer wasn't 4, because none of you can obviously be closer than the other. The answer was 6. It was Schmeichel, Sinisalo, Scales, Nigren, Tenetsky, and Maeda. So
I never realised Dyson. Don't know why I didn't think for him, but
I generally only
Come on,
counted
Tenetsky.
1 in my head as well. I was like, I can't think of who plays for Celtic.
well, Calum, it's your first point of the season. It's a big point for you.
on the board, I'll take
If
it.
you're 2-0 down, that's a huge point.
I'll take that.
Aye. Right, on that note, we better wrap things up. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to do a quick wee Thunder Club if you're joining us over there. And I'll see you next week. Take care. And remember, fuck the board. See you next time.